What's happening, everybody? I want to welcome to Lil J Show. I am Lil J. I hope everybody is having a wonderful and blessed day today. It's going absolutely amazing. As you can see, I'm still a little under the weather, but I'm trying to push through this, man, because I just feel like this needs to. Everybody needs to keep pushing this. It needs to stay alive. Everybody needs to be on this Nolan Wells situation. I've been going through some some videos, some videos, Instagram, YouTube, and I just actually been seeing a lot of people talking about the friends and these interviews, and a lot of stuff isn't adding up with these friends. I don't want to jump to conclusions like everybody was talking about the Bart guy, Bart. Now it seems like everybody's focusing towards Warren, but if you look at all the stuff that Warren has actually been saying, you can kind of understand why. Like he did that interview with the Tatum guy, and he said some things, and then on the police report, which I don't have, which I did, it's another lady that I watched that had it. So what he said to the Tatum guy was totally different from what he told the police. So, you know, if it wasn't nothing there wasn't nothing foul going on, and everything was legit. It was just straight up his story would never change. He wouldn't tell the Tatum guy once something and then tell the police another thing. But it's like his stories is just going going all over the place. But I wanna look at some of these posts, man. We could talk about them like this. I'm on Instagram. There's one guy that I watched, and I want to play him first, but he did, he kind of made me think about something. And I'm going to tell you what it is once we watch this video. But, say, man, I hope everybody is okay, man. And rest in peace to Nolan. And I can't remember the other two guys, but it was, what was his name? Tyler Smith and something Irvin. But rest in peace to them guys, man. And love and condolences to his family. I watched uh, the little conference today, and it's sad. I didn't even know about the other two incidents. One of them was in Kentucky. I can't remember what the other one was, but man, it's sad that we're just losing our children like that. Our black children. It's terrible, and the things, the stuff that's happening, nobody wants to take an account for it. But we're gonna get into this, and I'm gonna let this guy say what he got to say. And I'm gonna tell you, what I thought. It kind of makes sense to what he's saying. So let's check him out. Y'all hold on a second. My thing is not giving me not giving me my audio. Hold on, y'all. Give me a minute. One minute. All right, let's check this out. Listen to what this guy says.
And the key issue I have today is why are they only focusing on one vessel? We know the vessel that Nolan went to the island on, and there is at least one narrative that says he did not return on that vessel. That seems consistent with the fact that one of Nolan's apparent friends, Cole, I think his name, whose mother happens to be a judge, is the first known person to make a phone call regarding Nolan's well being. He calls his mother, and his mother calls law enforcement. And what, as a third party observer, as a critic of the situation, wants to know is, and we may never know, is what did Cole say to his mother, and what did mother say to law enforcement? That Nolan was missing? That seems unlikely. It seems unlikely that his friend would say, "Oh, he's missing." Um, and other friends had other boats at that party. And was Nolan on any of those boats after the fact? If Nolan's body washed up on shore, it probably came in from out in the ocean. Um, I'm not so sure it was on that first boat that everyone's paying attention to, but he may have been out on a boat and something happened to him for sure because he's not with us anymore. Was it an accident? Was it a drowning? Was it something more? But I think we are focused in the wrong place, and that's why we're not finding answers. And I hope we do. The more
All right. So what he was saying is, right, they're looking in the wrong direction. You know, and what made me play this is because I thought about it. Like, okay, so what if he was on the boat? Because I could have swore that I heard the Warren guy say that they were on one boat, the one that was taking on water, and I thought I heard him say that Nolan and Katie were sitting on the other boat, and then they started telling him, "Come on, we gotta go," because that boat was taking on water. So, is it possible that a little incident occurred on that other boat, and they were trying to get it lined up to where they could start pulling? I guess what was it? No, Wyatt's boat, because they were using Bart's boat to pull it, I believe, to tow it. So could he have been on Bart's boat? Something happened over there. He laid out. They trying to hurry up. We gotta go. We gotta go. The guy's calling the tow people, and the reason why that call sounds so distorted and so far away is because that was Wyatt on his boat. Maybe the other people were on the boat with Nolan on the second boat on Bart's boat with Nolan, and they're talking like that, but they're talking loud, but not too loud. It kind of sounds like they're far off. Yeah, think about it. Because if they were closer, they were close to Wyatt. I think we would have heard it a little bit clearer than what it was. So could they have been on Bart's boat? Could he have been laid out on Bart's boat? And they trying to hurry up and get out of there because something happened. So this guy made me think about that, and I mean, that's a possibility. Um, I don't know if they got the tracking or the navigation off of Bart's. I know they did it off of Wyatt's because it was the grandfather's boat. I know they did but did they get it off of Bart's boat? How do we know that Nolan was? He could have been laid out on. What was I keep getting them confused? It's too many of them, but Bart's boat. He could have been laid out on Bart's boat. They took off. They told Wyatt's boat to where they needed to to where he could get to moving. Then they took off and went off somewhere, parked that boat, maybe shot back down to somewhere closer to Horn Island, dumped him, went on back, took the boat out the water, and went on home. Could that be a possibility? Could he have been on Bart's boat? That's what I'm asking. So this guy, he really made me think about that. So I don't know, but I want to check out this other one here, man. This lady here, she kind of talking too, man. Kind of made me think about some things too. So let's check her out.
Hey, my beautiful people. Let's talk about what the DA in the Nolan Wells case is trying to hide when it comes to evidence. Number one, the time of Nolan's death. I told y'all Nolan died at nighttime. They want to place Nolan's death in the daytime.
Mm.
Physical evidence, a statement, and Nolan's cell phone. I told y'all that physical evidence got on a girl. It smelled like feces. They're trying to cover that up. Also on Nolan's cell phone, his biometric. This will tell when his heart stopped. And there is a witness statement from somebody that they're trying to get rid of the best way that they can, like it never existed.
So I want to know. She said that he passed at night. So what evidence or what have she seen to make her think that? But then you go to thinking about some things. Now check this out. During the day, it's over 1,000 people out there. So you think about it. Now, you think them boys would try to do something with that many people out there? So she might be onto something too, huh?
The reason Nolan was killed, I told you it was jealousy. They're trying to hide more than one feud between Nolan and his killer, meaning that Nolan and his killer, which is Warren Hudson, they argued all the time. There are people who can account for this. Warren was very jealous of Nolan. So she's trying to hide the history of that conflict between them two.
Mm.
Also, there is some type of communication showing the jealousy between Nolan and Warren. It had a lot to do with his football status and his talent and where he was going in his future. Also, the time that it is taken to present this to the grand jury, release the medical examiner's autopsy, this is all part of the plan. This stagnation that she's doing is to cover up the evidence. This particular part of the stagnation with the evidence comes from the racism of Mississippi, the corruptness of Mississippi. She is trying to tread very lightly in order to protect that good old boy system. Also, protecting that Nolan's death was premeditated. This was not in the heat of the moment. This was premeditated, which goes back to the ritualistic tone of his murder, which has to do with racism. Before it even got this far, the prosecutor had an airtight plan of who they were going to blame this on if they had to have a fall guy. But now that it's backfiring, so they're moving really slow and they're trying very hard to conceal as much evidence as they can. Hey,
So she making a lot of sense there because like I said, if it makes sense, like would they have tried to would they have done something to him, Nolan Wells? If would those boys have done something to him with all those people around? They're talking over 1,000 people out there. Somebody would have seen something. So that makes a lot of sense. And then, you know, hiding evidence or just taking the time because just like the second medical examiner in DC, he said he couldn't determine because of the decay. It was the body was decaying. So the longer they hold on to these pieces, the lungs, the neck, wouldn't be able to tell anything if he was alive when he fell in the water or was he already gone. So yeah, I think she's making a lot of sense in on that one right there. You know, you got some people out here, man, that's doing more work and working harder than I guess the JSO. But there was one I watched this other lady. I can't remember. I think it's called something Lisa, but we're gonna check her out. But she was talking about this situation on how that boy Warren, his story is it's been changing. Like I said, he told officer or ex officer Tatum one thing, but then when he talked to police, it was something different. And also, she said that the Marine Patrol was on the case. They was on it. She said if they would have stayed on it, it probably would have been solved by now. But they knocking on doors, trying to get answers, trying to talk to people and everything. So they go and talk to Warren, the guy that did the interview, and she said that he told the police that he seen Warren with unknown female. And what's so bad about that is he knew who Katie was because he said it in the interview with Tatum. But then he tells the police unknown female, then turns around and gives them another female's name, not Katie's, another female. So they go talking to these people, and these people like, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen Nolan in over a year. You see him. We gonna go to her page and watch that. But yeah, it's crazy, man. So he's doing all this buying time to do something. He's either trying to buy time to, this is allegedly, I don't know. That's what I'm thinking. He's he's buying time to go do something, maybe get rid of Nolan's body, or to try to come up with these stories, make sure everybody's stories is on point. So I mean, it's crazy, man. I mean, there's just too much going on. But look, I'm gonna see if I can find this lady. Here it is. It's Tissa tells all. Tissa tells. So shout out to her. I'm finna watch a little bit of your video. I really hope you don't strike my page,
You
but
guys, I
I
goose
really want to
chase.
watch this
Which makes
video.
me think if
Hold on a
somebody
second. Let me
was
catch
leading
this.
somebody
I gotta catch this part right here where she was talking about. Well, she has the police report. That's what I kind of start looking at this Warren guy. I mean, first they was saying Bart. Bart was like, "Man, I ain't got nothing to do with it. He handed over his phone, all the GPS stuff, and all that. I ain't had nothing to do with it." So then everybody starts looking at this interview and what the Warren guy's been saying, and a lot of his stuff isn't adding up. And we just watched this other lady, and she said that the Warren guy was jealous of Nolan. Could that be true? Could that be a possibility? I don't know.
Nolan for over 12 hours. All right? Everything we thought we knew about the timeline, we are now getting more information. Warren's mama was the one that called the Coast Guard. And the Coast Guard was about to start a search until they talked to Warren and a few other people. We'll get into what the exact nature of that is. They're the ones that told them to fall back. And the Coast Guard decided, instead of going with the grieving mother, the Coast Guard decided to take Warren and those friends' words over it, like, oh, it's cool, it's cool.
Hey, but didn't they say that? Didn't they say that? The judge, I believe, was it the judge that they said they called the Coast Guard? Somebody else. But you'll see. I mean, you're gonna see like all these holes. Everybody's starting to poke holes in this young man's story. So I don't know if this interview was a good idea for Nolan and his parents. Great idea because now everything is starting to come out. A lot of people are poking holes. You got, man, I'm saying I can say maybe millions of people, if not more, looking at this, trying to break it down. And when they do and they come up with something, they bring it right to social media. And then somebody else gonna pick up where they left off. So I don't know. I I, I think it's a good thing for Nolan and his parents. But for them, I think that was a bad move.
On top of that, okay, we have to talk about the timeline. You guys, I think we're very, very close to cracking this thing open. And I think very, very much it looks like this wall of silence where everybody was one band, one sound, like Tristan said, each other's back. Well, baby, it looks like the cracks are fine. Everybody is out for themselves. Bart is saving himself. Warren is left without an alibi. And interesting enough, what I got from the NDR report that I think a lot of people skipped over that pointed to Wyatt and what was his role, I think we're going to want to go over it. Okay, I said a lot. Let's get into it. First, let's start with Ben Crump because I just think it's funny that he told all of Ocean Springs, y'all can kiss my because we're not stopping. And also, he brings up a few other things. Hold on, y'all. Just listen to this real quick.
So for y'all, maybe that didn't catch the conference earlier today. This is what she's gonna play a little bit of it. You know, shout out to Tissa Tales. This is her video, not mine. I'm just reacting to it. So she's gonna play that, and then she's gonna get into this police report, and you're gonna start seeing all the stuff that was said, where he told the police one thing and he told this Tatum guy another. So let's check it out.
Then we'll get into the Warren, the MDR, and we'll get into the new article that gives devastating information that puts Warren and Wyatt and question marks over their heads because nothing they're saying is true. And here's the thing. We can say what we want about what we think the involvement with Bart is. Bart says he didn't know Katie. Katie has not come out and said whether she knew him or not. I don't know. But here's what I do know. Warren and Wyatt have not come out to call Bart a liar. Bart's version of what he said happened, they have not come out and called him a liar. And the thing is, his version makes them look like liars. But listen to this. Listen to Crump.
About Nolan Wells. And you'll hear from his mother and father after brief remarks by Attorney Hertz and Attorney Park. But we all know July 4th, Nolan Wells goes with friends, celebrating 4th of July. All the friends come back. Nolan Wells tragically washes up on the shore 2 days later, dead. And so we know all the current events that have been happening. We are announcing that we have the audio from the officials, and we have retained and are consulting with some of the foremost audio engineering experts to review those audio tapes from the CETO call in its entirety.
I know that's right. They're literally harassing the pause, right? Dame Dash, pause. I got to give you a little color on that. The reason why Ben Crump says we have the official audio. TMZ was being funny about giving the whole audio. When that audio was recovered and that one girl, Jeanette, cleaned up the audio and shared it with the world, She was involved in an online racist smear campaign, bringing up stuff. This woman is damn near 50, been in the game for so long, bringing up stuff she did when she was 20 and young and dumb. And spoiler alert, she did not hurt anybody. She was just being young and dumb. But like she said, I've changed my life. I've never been ashamed of my past. And also, what does my past, which doesn't involve anything nefarious, what does it have to do with what's on this tape? They were trying to silence her. They were trying to shut her up. And they were trying to make it seem like, oh, well, just because you was in jail 30 years ago, we can't listen to you. Ben Crump said, we don't care. We have the originals. And you can get mad at Jeanette all you want. We are bringing in 100% experts, state of the art, the top of America experts to come and break that audio down. And baby, we better not hear Nolan get up. Nolan, what's going on? I can't wait till they decode this. Again, let's keep going.
We also, and Attorney Hertz may go into greater detail on these matters, have consulted President Mariel with oceanic engineering experts to talk about how these facts are lining up. The fact that they say Nolan's body was found in the same location where they say they left him at. And so we want to know, how is that possible with the oceanic tides? We want the experts. I mean, you got low tides and high tides. It's not adding up. So we are going to dot every I and cross every T until we find out what happened to Nolan Wells.
Pause. Remember when we did the first live after offshore, and myself, you guys, and so many experts said the odds of getting pulled in by a riptide and your body being found exactly where it disappeared from is such a small thing. On top of that, remember how we talked about with the riptides, the fact that it doesn't take 2 days for something to go out into a riptide and come out. It usually comes in that night, or maybe even the next morning with the, well, y'all get what I'm saying. The next morning with the tide goes out at night, comes in the morning. Keep in mind that Nolan's father and the coach had gone out looking in the exact spot over and over and over. And they
And see that too. They said that the father and some people went out looking same spot over and over. They did it a few times, right? So then think about this: when the guy, the naval guy, seen the body, he said, "I could tell that body hadn't been in the water that long, because he said that it wasn't as bloated as it should have been." So with his body mass, it should have been like really, really, bloated. He said that it wasn't. So that leads me back to, was he on that other boat that Bart was driving? Because I don't think they checked the GPS on that one and where they all went to. They just did it to Wyatt's boat.
didn't see him. And keep in mind, on the 5th, they went out looking in the exact spot over and over and over. They didn't see anything. However, on the next day, they came out and they saw him. But we'll keep going.
Attorney Hertz will also go into a little more detail, and Attorney Park, about how we're trying to coordinate with Dr. Roger Mitchell, who conducted the independent autopsy of Nolan Wells, to be able to inspect his throat that was missing with his body when he was flown to do the autopsy with Dr. Mitchell. Also, we are hopeful that they will discuss with Dr. Mitchell the photographs and observations made at the time when Nolan was first discovered, because Dr. Mitchell did not get an opportunity until July 10th to be able to examine his body. And at that time, we know the airways and the lungs had already been dissected and so forth. So we can't tell if there was the presence of water or not. That would suggest whether he drowned or not. And remember what Dr. Roger Mitchell said in his autopsy. President Mariel, he talked about the fact that to say he drowned does not draw the conclusions of what happened to Nolan Wells. He said it is equally important to know at what condition was Nolan Wells' body when he went into the water. Was he conscious or was he unconscious? Was he forced into the water or did he go unforced into the water? He said all of these things are very important. And so we're dotting I's and crossing T's. We are focused on getting to the truth And we stand for the truth. Me and everybody on my legal team stand for the truth, no matter who it implicates or who it exonerates. We stand for justice, no matter who it convicts or who it acquits. And we stand for transparency so everybody can see. And that's all we want. We want answers. We're not casting aspersions on anybody. We are saying that we want to make sure everybody who is remotely involved has their questions answered to make sure we have a full and fair and impartial and transparent investigation. And is that too much to ask for these brokenhearted parents? Is that too much to ask? That's how, if it was your child, wouldn't you want the same thing? And I get it. They're attacking me. They're attacking Reverend Al. They're attacking the parents of Nolan Wells. We don't care about those distractions. We ain't no ways tired. We are completely focused, completely laser focused on getting to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us, God. And so the threats, the attacks mean nothing to us. We will not be deterred. Look into our eyes. We're going to get to the truth. I am so grateful to Mr. Byron Allen for donating $100,000 to the GoFundMe. So
Byron Allen is like a media legend.
We can help get the best experts in the world. I am thankful to Reverend Al Sharpton. I am thankful to Mr. Tyler Perry. I'm thankful to Mr. Tara Owens. I am very thankful to everybody who did not think it robbery to say, what can we do to help people get to the truth and call in to the tip line so we can help not only Nolan Wells' family, but we can help Daniel Irvin's family, and we can help Tyler Smith's family as well. Everybody on social media, please continue to ask questions. Please continue to share photographs, share videos. It all helps us solve this potential of what happened to Nolan Wells. I mean, it's so important. Somebody saw something. Somebody knows something.
Yeah, so that guy's name was Daniel Irvin. I said earlier. So rest in peace to them, man. I hope they get to it, but I'm gonna go ahead and see if we can find this police report thing. I don't want to play too much of her video, but yeah, we finna get into that and see that it's tricked out because this came out. It says Nolan Wells' friend's dad offers $50K reward. So basically, she gonna break it down, but and what she says, it makes a lot of sense. Dad offering $50K has nothing to do with Ben Crump or nobody else's investigation. So maybe he's a well-known figure in this town. Tell me what you know. Bring your information to me, and I'll pay you $50K. And then he can take that information to the police and maybe put his spin on it to still stir them away from Warren. Allegedly, I don't know. I'm just saying. But you'll see. You'll see. Basically, she's gonna say the same thing.
1,000,001 times. This 50K reward is odd. It's unusual, but it came right on the heels of when Bart low-key implied that he was cooperating with police. Again, this wall of silence, were they outmaneuvered by Bart, or maybe they didn't know? Now, one of the things I wanted to bring up, we're going to get into the article. We're going to get into everything one by one, right? But one thing I thought that was very, very interesting from the report is what's going on with Wyatt? What's going on with Wyatt? Because what Bart's lawyer said, and I'll read that in a second. When you look at the report, the people listed as people of interest are, in fact, Bart and Wyatt's granddaddy. But Wyatt's name is not anywhere on there, as if he wasn't involved in the incident at all when he was one of the pilots. On top of that, it seems like Nolan it seemed like Nolan and his whereabouts, how close was Nolan with Warren and how close was Nolan with Tristan? I know I touched on this last night, but we need to get into it because when you actually read the report, right? When you read the report, and I'm going to read it for you right now. Keep in mind this man is asking for $50,000. Katie, who was shown last night in the live, is like this with Nolan's family. She has spent countless events, countless holidays, countless times with the family. Nolan's, I think it's his aunt or cousin on his dad's side, or it might be on the mom's side. It's aunt or cousin. She is actually a deputy sheriff in the Jacksonville Police Department. Okay. She is a deputy sheriff. My point of this is she gave the statement on behalf of the family saying, we love Katie. We don't suspect Katie. Katie's actually the one that woke us up to the fact of what Warren and them were telling us about Nolan could not be true. She woke us up to that fact. On top of that, they kept saying when the police came and questioned Warren and Wyatt, right? And Bart, Bart said, I don't know Katie. I don't know her. I don't know her. I only found out about her after Nolan's death. But at the time, the police were asking. Bart said he wouldn't know Katie. Okay, let's look at Warren and let's look at Wyatt. If Warren was, and also Tristan just got trotted out as a pawn because the more and more I read this report, Tristan had to leave because of a fight he got into. Okay. He had to leave before he even knew what was going on. All right. Keep that in mind. So you left before anything happened. You left first. You left even before the boys happened. You actually don't know what's going on, but you know your bestie, like the rusty Warren, is having to be interviewed. So my question to Officer Tatum, and my question to Warren, and my question even to Tracy, why was Tracy even involved? Why did he go out there? I think he was just being a patsy for Warren because the only thing you know that happened was the only thing that Tracy knows that happened was what Warren said. You have no knowledge of it. You weren't there. You didn't even know that Nolan's daddy might have been you thought he was his stepdad. She might be the actual blood. You didn't even know that Katie was like this. But this leads me to Warren. Because how much did Warren know? Because here's the thing. Warren, if he's as close to Nolan as he says, you know who Katie is. You know who Katie is. That story about, oh, he was with an unidentified woman. The reason why Tristan, hold on, I'm going somewhere with this, y'all. And it's not the way you think. The reason why Tristan said he was with an unidentified girl when this all first went down, and Tristan was the person that wasn't even there, was going out on every news station to help his friend Warren, is because Tristan didn't know Katie. But then that can't be true. Because he also said that when he walked past Nolan, he said some slick shit about Katie to Nolan. Why would you be saying some slick shit to somebody you don't know? But they kept saying an unidentified woman. Warren, you are tight with Nolan. You know who Katie is. Katie knows y'all, right?
I see she get into it, just like that lady said in the little video we watched just a while ago. She said that this boy right here was jealous of Nolan, and they used to have back and forth all the time. So they're trying to wipe all that stuff. They're trying to clean that up. That's what's taking so long. So if they were having these back and forths all the time, could it have been over this girl? You know, maybe Buddy started liking her a long time ago, but then Nolan ends up pulling her. You know what I mean? So then now he's looking at him a little crazy. And another thing, like I said, the guy in the first video we watched, how do we not know that Nolan wasn't on that boat that Bart was driving, the one Bart was towing? Because if you listen to that phone call, it sounds like it's a little bit of distance between Wyatt and these people that are talking. So the people that are talking could have been on Bart's boat. Bart's towing Wyatt. Think about it. I'm finished letting her cook. She getting somewhere though.
Now, she might not know Bart because Bart said that Katie was a freshman when he was leaving for school. And okay, fine, whatever. He's not reacting season 3 Euphoria. Right now, we will look at Bart's statements later. We need to look at the way the spotlight's back on Warren, because let me pull out this little part of the report that I feel like a lot of people are skipping over. And it tells that basically Warren, I believe, was sending the police on wild goose chases. You can't say you're distraught, because you're the reason that this thing, the trip, the Coast Guard search didn't even happen. Exhibit everything. Hold on. I took them all out of order. Okay, here we go. On Saturday, July 4th at 11:49. So from the time that Warren called Nolan's mama and said, "Hey, have you seen Nolan? Don't worry, we'll find him." That was like at 11:07. Warren's mom called around. There are reports she actually talked to Katie, because Warren doesn't seem to know, or maybe he did, that Katie and them are super cool. So Katie was like, "What are you talking about? He went back with his friends." And that's when Warren's mama got scared. And she called the Coast Guard. Okay? She called the Coast Guard. Now, Warren leads us to believe that he called it just by his phrasing, but maybe we misinterpreted it. But let's keep going. She called the Coast Guard. And they say on Saturday, July 4th, 2026, Mississippi Department of Marine Resources, MDMR, Lieutenant Patrick Caron was advised by dispatch of a caller reporting a missing male, Nolan Wells, on Horn Island. The caller told dispatch her 18-year-old son, so the fact it was referred to as 18-year-old son, that was clearly Nolan's mama calling about Nolan. Her 18-year-old son rode to Horn Island on a vessel with friends and was last seen around 3 o'clock. His phone was in a friend's truck, and all the friends said they had returned from the island. Now, interesting. How did it get from the truck into the house? And if you did have his phone and you said, "Are you looking for Nolan?" Why wouldn't you take his phone to his mama? Because just in case Nolan is with somebody else, he might try to call y'all off of a number or call his own phone, asking y'all to answer. It was a weird thing, but let's keep going. Based on the information provided at that time, Lieutenant Caron asked dispatch to forward the reporting party, Christine Wells Wansley, to Jackson County Sheriff's Office, JSCO, to make an official missing persons report. Shortly thereafter, dispatch advised the reporting party was calling the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, and the United States Coast Guard had been notified. Okay, so she calls the Marine people, right? That is kind of the same as calling Coast Guard, because they notify Coast Guard to get in thing. They told her, "Well, hold on, there's procedure. You make the missing police report, and then the police will come and they'll tell us to do the search." And that's exactly what she did, and she did it lickety split. But look what happened. At approximately 1:38 on July 5th, okay, the lieutenant spoke with Ocean Springs Police Department regarding the complaint and advised the JCSO, which is the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, will be taking the lead on the case. Now, again, Caron spoke to the police. Caron is the Marine resource person, okay? Caron also spoke with the Jacksonville Lieutenant Odom, the shift supervisor, who said they'd taken the initial report. He said his deputies had spoke with several friends that traveled to the island on the boat with Nolan, and that when they left, he was in the company, this is the official police report, of an unknown female. They knew, at least Warren had to know or had reason to know, that that was Katie. But it gets deeper, because he then seems to send the police on a wild goose chase. Because listen to this. He was in the company of an unknown female, and that he chose to remain on the island. Based on the information provided, Odom did not have reason to believe that there were any water-related exigencies or emergencies, and he believed the most likely scenario was Nolan rode in on another vessel but did not have his phone in his possession to make contact with the family. No further action was taken by Karen or his shift the morning of July 5th. Y'all, this is a huge breaking thing for a couple of reasons. One, Warren always seemed really, really weird when he talked about it. There was a lack of emotion. When he was on her island, the place where your bestie was found floating face down, maybe clothed, maybe unclothed. You have to talk about, yeah, people die out here all the time. No emotion. Nolan's mom is so concerned with what's happening with her son that she is demanding he's missing. Y'all need to search. The Marine Resource, the police, and the Coast Guard are taking it seriously. And the first thing they do before they're gearing up to go search. And the first thing they do before I go search is like, yo, we need to talk to some of these friends. So they talked to the friends of the boat he was supposed to be on, which was Wyatt, Warren, who else? Will. Bart saying, don't talk to me. I just saw them sinking and I came out to give help. All right, Bart, we'll get to you later. But let's talk about what we do know in the official reports because we don't want to speculate. How is it that you call the mom talking about he's missing? And then when the police call you to get your statement so the Coast Guard can get more information so they can go out and search that same early morning night, you tell them and everybody they interviewed, which are your friends, Wyatt, Warren, you tell them, don't worry about it. You basically told them information, making it seem like the mama was overreacting, and y'all knew for a fact that Warren was safe. You knew for a fact that Nolan was safe. I'm sorry, I know I'm messing up the names, but I'm looking at Warren's faces in my head, okay? You knew for a fact that Nolan was safe. You presented that, and that's why they called off the search for Nolan. That's why they called off the search for Nolan. And even till the early mornings and when the shift came, they were like, it's cool. He'll show up. Why is Warren not racked with guilt? Why does Warren not think he has any culpability? Why does Warren not give a F? This is weird behavior. You're the reason they didn't go out look at them that night. You made the wrong call. You convinced them. You and the friends. Bart, and it's in the report, without a lawyer present, gave statements, go look at the boat, do this, do this, do this. Hear me out. I'm not defending Bart. I'm not defending anybody in this situation until we know what happened to Nolan. But just suppose that with the way he was acting and the way his bestie for the restie was acting. And it's not over. Get this. At approximately, so we don't know, honestly, what happened to Nolan. But I'm willing to guess that had Warren actually said, oh, he is missing, and not specifically told a narrative that made the police force and everybody else stand down like, yeah, you're right, and actually honored the thought, the seed that he put into Nolan's mama's head. He's missing. Things might have been different if it was natural. And if it was natural, like Warren and Wyatt and all of them are insisting, how do y'all not feel any guilt? How do y'all not feel any reflection? Tristan, I watched Officer DeJango's interview. Nancy Grace tore his A up. We'll talk about that. She got him to admit so much. But how do you explain the fact, okay, that Tristan, who wasn't even there, you arguably weren't that tight with Nolan. Maybe you kind of were, but you had more. You donated to his fund. You got choked up when you were talking about him. You got sentimental. You even said, yo, I told him, yo, all right, man, I love you. He's like, I don't know why I said that. Maybe I was drunk, but I said it, and I'm glad I did. Tristan had more emotion about Nolan passing than Warren did. Again, Tristan wasn't there for any of this. So the only thing he's doing is parroting what Warren is saying, and Warren is just saying whatever he needs to. Because they said, let me finish this. At approximately 1800 hours on the evening of July 5th, Karen reported to the command post established by the Jackson County Police at Lake Mars Pier and assisted with efforts and included sending the Marine Sources patrol vessel and crew to the northwest tip of Horn Island to conduct sonar surveys on the area. The sonar surveys were inconclusive and terminated due to adverse weather conditions. Now, these adverse weather conditions could have been heat. It could have been bad waves. I don't know what contributes. I should have asked.
Now, what she basically, I mean, what she's saying is, my man right here told them, "Oh, you know what? Don't worry about it." You know what I'm saying? He laid up with a girl. You know, he laid up with somebody. He with an old girl. It ain't, you know, his mother is making it bigger than what it is. And this lady is saying, shout out to Tissa Tales. This your video, not mine, but I'm just reacting to it. But what she's saying is, had you not told them that, they could have went out there, searched and searched and searched, and maybe found them. You know, could have been a different outcome. But if you think about it, the father said he was out there. He went out there like a couple of times, maybe three, and he didn't see anything. So what leads makes me it makes me I think that they were trying to do this to get the police to go elsewhere, to either get back out there in that water and get rid of that body, or everybody is being coached. Somebody is telling them what to say, trying to get everybody together, get their story straight. They're making these police officers like look elsewhere. And for one thing, they told him that they told the Coast Guard that he was all right. So therefore, they're not gonna get on in this water and go look. So I guess that gives them time to go do what they got to do if they got to get back out in that water and get rid of something. I mean, it's crazy, man, and you'll see what I was saying about the things that he told the Tatum guy, and the different things that he told the police. It's not adding up. And it's starting to make a little bit more sense with this one guy, because the first lady that we watched, you remember, she said that these two used to bump heads, and there are text messages and all kind of stuff that shows that these guys used to bump heads. And that's why the DA and all the prosecutors are taking their time, because they're trying to clean it up. So I think this guy got his hands dirty. We was all talking about Bart. Now it's him. You know, I don't. You know, after a while, I just hope we don't have to run through the whole family. I mean, the whole friend group, so called friends. But I believe the Bucks are gonna start with him right here.
At ChatGPT, but we here now. But my whole point is, if weather conditions were so bad that they couldn't even conduct sonar surveys of the area, then how was Warren sleeping in his bed, probably rubbing his feet together? His dad had to wake him up. Talking about, yo, do you know Nolan's missing? Huh? What? His dad had to wake him up. And there's adverse weather, and never once do you open your mouth to be like, yo, I think we need to get Nolan. Like, this is serious. There's adverse weather. They can't find anything. Nobody, you didn't wake up calling around. You didn't wake up even calling his mom back, talking about, oh, Miss Christine, what happened? What happened to Nolan? You didn't do anything. You was rubbing your feet together, knocked out, having the best sleep of your life. Your daddy had to wake you up, and even then there was no urgency, nothing. Okay, but let's talk about the wild goose chase that the police were actually sent on about the unidentified woman, if we will. That's not it. Hold on, y'all. I had it in order a second. Oh, here we go. Let's talk about, remember that name that showed up? I think it was Leanne, right? And again, why is Wyatt's name not as a person of interest when he was also driving a vehicle? Wyatt's grandfather's name is noted as a person of interest, right? But you know who's, hold on, y'all. Wyatt's grandfather is noted as a person of, not a person of interest, but somebody they interviewed. The same as Bart. We know why Bart's name's in on it, right? We know why Bart's name is in on it because Bart towed. And Bart said, yeah, do what you need to do. So that's how his name got in on it. But why wasn't the driver of the vessel that had made all the calls and done all this? Why was his name Wyatt? Why was Wyatt's name not listed anywhere on the police report? Very odd. The police report is written almost as if Jerry was the one driving. I don't know. It's very, very, very odd. But let's continue into this wild goose chase that Nolan's friends sent the police on. All right. Let me read these super chats really quick. Hey, Cherry Kempthorne. What's up, Mama? Thank you. Also, thank you for super chat. Devotion Orange said, T said, check out the doc who did the first autopsy. She has a history of covering up homicides. Yes, so funny thing, we can talk about that. I did a video like about a week and a half ago about that. She has a strange history of inconclusive autopsies when third-party autopsies review. So when an autopsy is done, the doctor takes a lot of medical notes, a lot, right? And that's the way you kind of show your work. Because when you take a lot of medical notes, okay, another pathologist, which is what we call doctors who do autopsies, another pathologist can go in and look at your work, and they're supposed to be able to come to the same conclusion. It's like when you show your math. I put 2 plus 2 equals 4 minus 1 equals 4. No, 2 plus Javon, all those people are worried. And then you talk to the police after that, and you say, along with your other friends that are probably there too, nah, he's probably drunk at someone's house. He was with the girl. If you were so certain he was drunk on someone's couch and you were so certain enough to convince the police, so they called the dogs off and they're like, ain't no need to search for him, then why couldn't you give a name? Now we can ask why the police didn't ask, well, whose couch is he drunk on? Who else was there? Why didn't the police call around and be like, yeah, we looked at all your sources and nothing's adding up? But getting into sources, I believe that Nolan's friends, spearheaded by perhaps Warren or Wyatt, I think there's evidence here based upon information and belief that to consider the fact, right, that they were also leading police on a wild goose chase, which makes me think if somebody was leading somebody on a wild goose chase, you were doing it because you need to hide. You need time. Time for what? I don't know. Because listen to what this happened. They kept saying, oh, an unidentified woman. Warren, you know Nolan. You know who Katie is. Nolan's family knows who Katie is. They love her. They said it in an actual press release. Listen to this. On July 5th, 2026, at approximately 11:55, Mississippi Department of Marine Sources, Office of Marine Patrol Master Sergeant Jacob Strickland received a call from Captain William Freeman to locate and interview a female subject that, hold on, let me plug in my phone, my computer. Yes, I be working overtime and I'm always knocking this plug out. Okay, back to what I was saying. He received a call from Captain Freeman to locate and interview a female subject that was possibly involved with a missing person on Horn Island. Now, keep in mind, Warren went on Officer DeJango. Before I read this next paragraph, please keep this in mind. Warren went on Officer DeJango and proudly said, you know, boating's a small community. Everybody knows everybody. When you've been on the water, Warren 100% knows Katie. Trayston knows Katie, but Trayston's out of this. I still don't understand why he was even on that couch because you weren't even there. Why are you here? You really thought you was just going to get any black person to come out like a puppet? Go away. I love, anyway, right? The late girl's name, right? That might have been involved with Nolan on Horn Island. That's what he was sent to go question. Listen to this. Officer Strickland reported to the residence of Laney Naquin. Now, mind you, in none of these reports, Katie's name wasn't in there. That's how you know Katie called Nolan's family to see what's going on, because her name wasn't mentioned anywhere. They actually gave a name of somebody named Laney, which makes me believe that they didn't want to give Katie's name, because if they did end up giving Katie's name, then the jig is up. Because Katie would have told them what she told Nolan's family. So listen, they reported to the residents of Laney Naquin in Pescagoula, Mississippi, who was initially reported to be on Horn Island with a group of people associated with Nolan Wells. When interviewed, Laney stated that she had already spoken with Jackson County Sheriff's Department investigators and stated she was not on Horn Island, but in fact was in Petit Boats Island with a different group of friends. Laney also said that she knew Nolan, but she had not seen or spoken to him in over a year.
Mm. So why would he give up that name, Laney McQueen, whatever she said? Why would you give up? Why would you give up that girl's name when he already knew who Nolan was with? And I just thought about something, like just looking at his picture, man. He looked like he could be a bully. He looked like he could be, like he was like bullying those guys or the ones that were afraid of him. So maybe something did happen. He was basically telling them other guys, "Hey, man, this is what you need to say. This is what needs to go on. This is what you do when you ask. When you're asked, you need to say this. Help. You know what I'm saying? He looks like a bully though. And shout out to Tissa Tales, man. I mean, this is her video. I just wanted to bring it to this point to see how this guy is telling different stories. If you go and watch her video, finish it out, go watch it. It's gonna get to the point where you see he told the officer Laney something, but then he sits on Tatum's couch and say Nolan was with Katie. So which one is it, homie? Which one is it? Why would you be sitting up there giving the police the runaround, telling just coming up with names to keep them out of that water so y'all can do what y'all needed to do, not knowing that Nolan's father had access to the water and that he went out there and searched a few times before y'all did what y'all did, because the man said it, you know, and I'm pretty sure this is not his first body that he's seen, because he said he's like, hey, you could tell body wasn't out there that long. If you go and find that pilot or whatever he said he was like 450 feet in the air, 350, something like that. But he said that as I was looking down, I could tell that body was not in the water that long. He said it should have been way bloated if it was in there as long as from July 4th to the 6th. He said with Nolan's body mass, his body should have been really bloated. So yeah, y'all go check out Tissa Tell. Shout out to her. Boy, he went fed too. He kind of went hard too. Everybody's still going in on this Tatum guy. They can't not believe the things that he said and how he feels about his own kind. And like I said in my live earlier, no matter what you do, my brother, no matter what you do, no matter what you say, they're still gonna see you as who you are. And they might even lower you because of what you're doing now. You're talking about your own people, man. If y'all go and watch the Poetic Flacco, or maybe if you go to this Tatum site and look at some of his videos and how he just talks about black women and talk about black people. I didn't know it was that bad, man, until Poetic Flacco made that video and this guy was saying black people are ignorant. Well, wait, not all of us, because I was raised by some really good, smart black people. Like he was saying, his family is great. But the people that he run into out in this world, oh my God. No wonder why these white folks think we're so ignorant. No, that's not it. They think we ignorant because of people like you, my brother. But check out what D.L. Hughley said about him. Hold on, let's get to it.
Hey, now it's me, D.L. Hughley. Welcome back to Uncertain. So much to get to. This is Jasmine Sanders. This is Austin Hall. This is Moiba. I think, which is what would you be your where you from originally? Don't
Who,
say
me?
I mean, before you came to here. I mean,
Moiba.
not the answer you give to immigration. The answer you tell us. From
That's so
Nashville.
mean.
I didn't know they had huts in Nashville.
That's so
It's
terrible.
crazy. So of course, Nolan Wells still continues to be a hot topic. And for everybody that asked me why are we still talking about Nolan Wells, one man's Nolan Wells is another man's, Amanda. What was the young Natalie Holloway?
Natalie Holloway.
One man's Nolan Wells, another man's Natalie Holloway. Remember, we knew all about Joran Vandersloot, and we knew all about Aruba, and we knew all what was happening. Do you think that Nolan Wells was murdered?
I do.
You do.
100%.
I think that Mississippi's going to be Mississippi. I think that black people are right to question all of the circumstances that have arisen. You have a young man, and almost everything we know about this case, we know because black people wouldn't let it go. Like his mother and her sister or her somebody that's closely associated with her found his phone. A young woman, cleaned the audio up so we could hear other things. And so everything we know, but Mississippi is being exactly what Mississippi has always been, and they are dubious and dismissive in terms of black lives. They don't have what you have just as recently as 2024, there were 215 black men who were found in the pauper's grave behind a local sheriff department. 215. All that was missing was a metal. All that was there to signify that there was a metal plate. It only came to light because a mother was looking for one of her, looking for a child, and they happened to find it there. Nobody said 215 people. That's a lot of people. You have Medgar Evers. It took 31 years and 3 trials to finally get a justice for him. You had not even 4 weeks ago, a 1-year-old boy was shot by a police officer who has, it's been said that he's had racist connections. We don't hear anything about that. Mississippi has been actively participating in poisoning the water of it, or not even poisoning, allowing the citizens of Jackson to be poisoned with their water supply. The very same thing that existed in the 60s exists now. So they have a dubious history when it comes to the value of black lives. I remember I was playing.
I'm gonna stop him right there because see, everybody forgets about the guy I think his name was DeMar Travion Reed. He was 21 years old, and they found him hanging from a tree and at a college. I think it was in Cleveland, Mississippi. They ruled it as a suicide. But how do we know? We just gonna take their word for it? And why would he choose a tree? We know who like to do these things, like to hang people from trees. So I mean, he's not talking about that. I'm still questioning that one.
A gig in Jackson. I stayed at a brand new Westin. It was a brand new Westin they had built in Jackson. It was right across from the jail. And I was when I have a 135-pound Akita. He would travel with me all the time. As soon as we get to the hotel, I get him water. This dude starts shitting everywhere an hour later. I go to the vet, and he said, did he drink the water? Because every few months, the water is so bad that Jackson have a boil advisory. And they know what's happening. They've taken all of their political power away. So why would I believe you? The only reason we know anything is because black people haven't let it go.
I think it's also worth mentioning when you're talking about things that happened dubiously in Mississippi in 2022. Remember Demontario Gibson?
Yes.
The FedEx truck driver,
Right.
where a father and son shot him, killed him, and were both acquitted.
And then the two FedEx driver, well, actually they shot at him. And the judge suspended the case with prejudice, or dismissed the case with prejudice. And they got that right, with prejudice.
Mm.
We are right to be dismissive or to be suspicious of people who've shown us who they are. Mississippi going Mississippi. There's nothing inconsistent about what we know Mississippi to be. I'm not saying that everything that happens there is this way, but they're not. The governor of Mississippi comes out and calls, basically says that Ben Crump and Al Sharpton are stirring up racial strife. No, that ain't what happened. If it weren't for them and people bringing, I can understand, and I don't know what happened, but I do know that a young man is dead, and the fact that his mother, who only wants to seek justice for her child, is getting doxxed, like her job is getting bad reviews, her personal business getting bad reviews, and getting death threats.
Right.
Ain't nothing more Mississippi than threatening black people for nothing. Yeah. I don't understand what we don't trust you because you've proven to be untrustworthy. Your governor has never said anything, and when he does say something about what's going on in Mississippi, the first thing he really talks about, if any significant, to any significant degree, is to malign Ben Crump and Al Sharpton. It sounds like outside agitators, right? It sounds like what they used to say before.
Right.
It's interesting that Brandon Tatum is welcome in Mississippi when Ben Crump and Al Sharpton are not, for the exact same reason that Stephen A. Smith is welcome at ESPN and Ryan Clark are not. Is not. Anybody who says or asks questions, you talking about a state that got mad because niggas tried to read. And now the new extrapolation of that, the new extension of that is people having internet. So what is it? Why would I trust you? I don't know what happened, but I do know this. Maybe the hang up for me is that they keep bantering, throwing around this word friends. We were his friends. We were his best friends. Who was it? This young man this young man right here.
If Nolan could dig himself out of his grave right now, he would. No doubt. Nolan would be livid is an understatement. Nolan would never want anything pursued this way at all. I think he would be really upset with his parents about how they went about the situation. I think he generally would. I don't think he wouldn't support it. I know that for 110%. I know he wouldn't support any of it.
Best friends? Like I was told the story on the radio earlier this week. I had a best friend, a good friend of mine named Kevin. And Kevin and I were best friends. We would get into it all the time. 16 years old, he had a great job, moved in with this girl. The girl had a kid by somebody else. There was always friction. One day, Kevin asked me to get his back with him. And normally I would, but this time I got so mad at him and told her to leave the girl alone. We had a fight. An argument ensued. I'm like, fuck you, go. And Kevin got killed. And I was so hurt by that. And a lot of people in the neighborhood, I remember, I told the story on the radio, a dude named Roger said, you let that boy to drown by himself. My mother didn't want me to go to the funeral because she thought that the people were they were so mad at me. She thought they were going to harm me. He was my friend. And I had to say, because if that's your friend, that's the last time you're ever going to see him again, ever. Ever. But these young people throw friend around. When you are grown and you understand what the value of a friend, you understand if you have 5 good friends, you have been blessed. And I had to go say goodbye. The fact that you weren't compelled to say goodbye to somebody, the fact that you didn't have any grief or lament, the fact that you couldn't even access and try to ascertain what part you could have played in it, lets me know I'm not saying they're guilty, but wasn't one fucking friend in the bunch. Not one of them a friend. They can say acquaintances. They can say I was cool with. They can say teammates. You can't tell me a friend. You can't call yourself a friend. You know, now it's such a cliche word. You BFF, my best friend for life, and this and they even connect the names, Benifer and all that kind of. When you got a friend, it ain't shit you won't do for them.
True.
I'm talking about a friend, and not one of them have done anything. I think the problem we're having is that Mississippi is Mississippian, and they're mismonitoring friends. None of them have acted friendly. None of them have done the things that we associate with friendship.
Right. They held on to the phone.
Right.
I think they're being advised or just told you can't be there. Except when Officer Tatum comes through. They've been welcomed to an interview.
I would say this. When you hear, they have a scrubbed audio, right? So this is the scrubbed audio.
Hey, we're at the west tip of Horn, and our village pump stopped working. We're sinking. Can y'all please come? We have a membership. Shut up! Shut the fuck up!
They're threatening the woman who scrubbed the audio. Why is it that black women and black men are the ones who are moving this case forward? Why is it that it was his mother that had to find his phone and his keys? Why is it that it was a black woman who worked in the audio industry that had to scrub the audio? Why is it that Ben and Al had to show up there? I'll tell you this, Nancy Grace is there. Nancy Grace has tried 100 felony trials, and she thinks something's suspicious. Because it is.
Why wouldn't you think something was suspicious when you have an independent autopsy and yet you don't get the throat and you don't get the lungs?
The lungs. Here's how I know something happened. Because the easiest thing to do if they have the lungs would be to know if there were water in them. Then they could say he drowned. Now, all the other places we're getting to, at least you would know he drowned. We're not even getting that. Right. And one thing, if you're gonna lie now, you can't let black people watch TV now, because now we don't all watch
Forensic Files. Episode 302.
Yes. Law and Order. We know all of it.
Fluid in his lungs.
Yes. I know about the mitochondrial DNA, nigga. But just in everyday parlance, people are aware of these things where they wouldn't have been before. Why are you holding on to the key? We can tell if something happened to his throat. We can tell if something happened to his skull. We can tell if there are hemorrhages in his eyes. We can tell if he got lungs. Why is it that you're holding on to things that really get to the heart of what happened to this young man?
And I also think the biggest question is, why have investigators not pulled these kids together and spoken to them? That's what I don't understand. You have the audio, like you said, the scrubbed audio, where they called in to say that they were sinking, but you can clearly hear that their friend is in distress in the back, but they never mentioned it to the operator.
And you know what they never did? They never challenged that was the case. What they did was, they started threatening the girl and pulling up her criminal history. Nothing. Mississippi is Mississippi.
Right.
And the thing, everything is going the way it usually does, except now black people are more diligent. The first thing they said was, what about all the black people that killed black people in Chicago? That's the first thing they say. A lot of them go to jail. A lot of them go like if they instantly try to devalue our lives, so we'll go, oh, it's okay now. What it is all of us have children. A lot of us have children, and to have a child come up lost with no answers is a pain that no one should have to go through. And as a matter of practice, this state and other states in America have a tendency to do it by rote. And this time, no. This time, no. Remember that if you are going to be at the City Winery in New York, I will be there at the City Winery. I'll be there. You know, when you're a black man, they make you hold the shit you used to be, so it holds weight now. It holds weight now. I'm not knocking this dude. He looks like the kind of man that would have to marry a white woman. He does. He does. He looks like anytime a man called himself what he used to be, he was a football player and failed at that. Then he found his way into police work, right? Now he's out of that. Now he's always looking for the same adulates and same cheers he used to get on the football field.
So if y'all don't know, D.L. Hewley and that ex-officer Tatum, they've been going at it back and forth online. I think ever since this Nolan Well thing happened, and so the other day, D.L. Hewley, he pulls up a picture of Tatum and his wife, and Tatum, he comes back and starts firing back, calling D.L. Hewley ignorant and all this other stuff. You know, shout out to D.L. Hewley, man, but you know. That's what he's basically saying, you know. Hey, he don't want to look, you know. Opposite door, that Tatum guy, he's married to a white woman, but his kids, they're black and white. And like I said earlier, my last live, what about when your kids get old enough and they able to pull this YouTube up and hear their dad saying that all black people are stupid, we're dumb? How are they gonna look at you? Or think about this, like I said, they could be going to school and they can catch hell at school because of what you said online. It's crazy, but I just never seen him, man. I thought Charleston White was bad. This dude is terrible, man. That Tatum guy is something else, man. I mean, it's like he just even hates to be in his skin. That's how bad it is.
And usually them came from white coaches. So he's only doing what he's been trained to do.
Wow.
This dude is it. And now to get there, and this dude's talking about he was on cocaine, and listen to this.
Someone close to Nolan, one of his friends, told me that this person was offered cocaine and rejected it from this person. This person told me that it's over 100% chance that Nolan was using cocaine during this period of time.
If he was in fact on cocaine and did cocaine and alcohol, the best time to do shit like that is when you're young. If he were a 50-year-old dude doing it, established-year-old dude doing it, it would be a blight. But all of us, I've done cocaine, right?
Wait a minute. Hold up.
I've done cocaine. You've done cocaine, right?
No.
You from Africa. I don't know what you did.
I have not done cocaine.
Okay, I have. Have you done cocaine
First of all,
before?
my mama watching this show. You ain't supposed to be saying shit like I done cocaine. You done. How about we just say everybody here has done?
No.
Shit.
Okay, that's better.
The most salient point of it, we used to do something.
Okay.
There
But
you go.
when you're trying to rely, I guarantee you that if that man, that little boy did that, everybody else, if he did cocaine and he didn't come there with it, they gave it to him.
Right.
The one thing a young black 19-year-old D1 athlete ain't gonna have is cocaine. What he has is people with access to it.
But what they got to do with drowning?
Exactly, because what they try to do is devalue their lives. And I'm gonna tell you something. This dude, man, this dude right here, the reason that they would speak to him as opposed to law enforcement is because he is a listening ear. He's a sympathetic ear.
He's a safe ear.
He's a safe. And the only reason people on the right fuck with black people is if they safe. They're predictable. I got to know what you're going to do, or I can't fuck with you. What does it say that Nancy Grace, an established prosecutor, believes there's something there, and he doesn't? The girl, who's the girl? Miss Rachel believes there's something there, but the shoe booty nigga that couldn't make a football team believes that he knows some people don't. This dude, and he's getting, and he talked about how he got death threats. You didn't talk about how his mama got death threats. You had his best friend on there maligning that relationship. I don't know that dude. I don't know who did what. But the only person I know for sure is innocent is that boy's mama. I don't know nothing about them, and I know for sure none of them was friends. None of them. They have taken a wide latitude and a license with a friendship, and that's the problem we're having, because we don't know a friend that would act like that.
Well, not even that. I think the bigger problem also is I don't know a case that didn't involve melanated people that you would have something like this happen. You were talking earlier about Natalie Holloway. They searched for that guy for 18 years.
Yes.
And that story about Natalie Holloway.
Right.
Yes. But that story was on the news every day or every other day. They wanted to get to the bottom of it. They wanted to talk to any and everyone who was in proximity of her. However, you don't talk to the kids who saw him last.
Exactly. When this dude, Brandon Tatum, talks about Sandra Massey and talked about Sandra Massey had acted so suspiciously by holding a boiling water that she basically led to her own death. Because the thing about black people, when black people die, you don't die once, you die over and over again. They kill your character, they kill who you could have been, and they kill what people knew you as. Now we're going to start hearing about how is it really that unusual that an 18-year-old kid getting ready to go off to college got drunk or tried drugs? Is it really? Don't talk to me about morality when you right now support a dude who's closely associated with a pedophile. Fuck you and your values. Don't tell me about that. And you supposed to be a cop too?
I was about to say, no wonder he got fired. I'm like,
former cop.
Solve the case.
Former cop. What made him elevate like this was going viral on social media. So what he is an influencer.
But only for them.
He got a YouTube channel. I don't even like calling him an influencer.
And how dare you put yourself in the same sentence as me? You was my fan. I was never yours. I'd have never liked a nigga like you.
Oh,
never.
Oh, wow. That'll hold him.
Never. I'd have never. I used to be his fan, but I'm supposed to make people like you uncomfortable. I'm raid for niggas like you. I am. I'm sunshine to roaches. I'm light to roaches. You supposed to not like me. We're not supposed to be in the same sphere. I'm glad that you stopped liking me because that means I was doing something right. What you are doing is making apologies for something that should be easy to have. We should all be suspicious of a state that has shown itself to be dubious when it comes to black lives. And you forget you have one. And how dare you have the temerity to talk about the way somebody else speak?
Yeah.
You have the temerity to speak about somebody speak. You didn't get into this game because of your acumen. You got into this because of your size and your athletic prowess. When that didn't work, you used that same thing for police work. When that didn't work, you tried to intimate you had intellect. Let's play with them, kid. I've been at this longer than you've been alive. And I'm still here. And you know my name. And the only reason I know your name is because somebody gave me a coon alert. Literally. He is.
That's gonna leave a mark.
And the problem with him, and he don't seem to get this, and I'm never gonna call you officer. You're not that anymore. You're not an officer. You're an ex-officer. And you didn't make it to detective. I would have a different conversation if you'd risen to the level of detective. If you were on police department 6 years, you didn't get far. And now you're sitting up here talking to us as you're if you're an expert.
Well, not just talking to us, but having the audacity to go and sit down with these alleged friends to investigate. Because remember in his video, he said, I traveled here to Mississippi to get to the truth.
Right.
These kids are innocent.
Right.
How dare you? Blah, blah, blah. But actually did get the interview, which of course questions why would
why?
Well, I know why, but
I'm going to tell you something. The last thing they'll let a big, strong black man do is put them in a position where they're uncomfortable. By definition, if they let you in their proximity, they're comfortable around you. They're comfortable around you. And I don't know how you can investigate a situation that has so many moving parts and make people comfortable.
Yeah.
Most times, law enforcement is shaking a tree and see who does what.
My parents would have whooped my ass if I held on to that phone. What you got this phone for?
Exactly. Exactly.
It's a dead person's phone.
Right.
You turn this shit in.
Exactly. I do not understand. I know what it's like to lose a friend, somebody you love. I can't go honestly, I can't go, I'm sure this has brought that up for me. So it's almost every time something happens, I think about it often and what part I could have played. But the one thing I know for sure, I will always question my actions in terms of if I'd have been there, what could happen. But I'll never question how much I loved him and how much a friend of him I was. I hold him in my heart. Right. Up until about 10 years ago, I used to use his name when I checked the hotel. Don't tell me about a fucking friend. Don't tell me about you scared because people might do you harm. I'm going to say bye to my fucking friend because it's the last time I get to see him. So let's stop using the word friend. Maybe if we were saying acquaintances, maybe if we were saying teammate, maybe you were saying we wouldn't have the import. It wouldn't have the weight that it does. You put that weight on there. You inserted yourself in the story. You said you were his friend. You told us, but you forgot that niggas know what friends are. We know what that means. The fraternity I belong to, I went to that fraternity because of its value and its connection to friendship. So don't sit up there and tell me, play on the word friend, and then expect me not to hold yourself up to it. Don't talk to me about morality when you do anything other than that. I don't know what you did. I know what you didn't do. You weren't a friend. You weren't that. You can be anything else. Don't call yourself a friend. And if that's a friend to you, if that's a friend to you and somebody who is in that sphere claims to be your friend, you better fucking run.
Yeah.
You better run. The one thing we know, because we ain't ever had shit else, the one thing we know is friends. And the other thing we know is bullshit. And those people are not acting in any way friendly or people that are concerned about the outcome.
Right.
To the funeral, or the memorial service.
Right.
Why didn't you go?
Obviously, I want to say my last goodbyes to one of my best friends, but I mean, if I'm getting thousands of death threats of people saying they're going to kill me and do crazy things to my family and I couldn't bring myself to go because, I got to put my own safety first.
Not just the friends, but the parents of the friends, because you would think that they would know, that it would be the right thing to do to seek justice for another child.
Yeah. This shit just blows my mind because it's like, yo, why you holding on to this phone? This is something that can help.
Because an adult knows, an adult in authority, an adult who's in the legal realm knows that that's information.
Correct.
It's time, it's pinging off towers. It puts people in proximity to things. They know how valuable that
They've
phone
been
is.
coached. They've been coached.
Yeah. That boy didn't call talk about giving. He talked to an adult.
If we were watching this on a TV show, everybody, we would all be like, oh, they did it.
They did it.
You would instantly think that if you were just watching the show and they put all this there, we were watching Law and Order, you'd be like, oh, they did it.
If it was, we changed the circumstances around and everybody looked differently, we'd all say they did. The difference is we would say they did it, no matter who did it.
Right.
And if and when, and somebody's going to have done something, if and when, and now I understand that the family, Nolan Wells' family, is serving his friends notices. I will tell you this. If and when we find out that somebody was involved or somebody knew about it, they should sue not only them, but they should sue Brandon Tatum too. You inserted yourself in that. You want a bite of this shit sandwich? Take your part.
Right.
I guarantee that you should have a part of it because that's what happens. You wanted to be an influencer? Okay. Play that game. You wanted to, I have never, like the one thing, and I'll leave it here because he said, you can't make me hate white people. I would never want you to hate anybody. I'm not asking you to hate white people. I'm asking you who the fuck made you hate us. I said this earlier. The same reason that Mississippi feels comfortable with Brandon Tatum, they're comfortable with him as opposed to Al Sharpton and my frat brother Ben Crump, is the exact same reason that ESPN feels comfortable with Stephen A. Smith as opposed to Ryan Clark. How dare you ask questions and be a supporter of the people we're trying to malign? When I saw Ryan Clark, this is Ryan Clark when he was emotional.
And this kid, from the West Bank is like so accepted in New Orleans now. Like I wouldn't change that. You know, never. You know, like all I ever wanted to do was be accepted.
All this kid wants to do is his job. All he wants to do is bring his experiences into his profession and humanize it in a way. And they don't need that. What does it say that they feel comfortable with Stephen A. Smith and not with him? And the only person between those two who was the athlete, who was on the field, who won championships, who bled for his profession, who competed at a level that only dozens of people in the world have, is him. What did he do that made you feel like he was the threat and he was the thing you had to put? The real expert, the one who bled and got concussions and hit people and went to practices and know what it's like to be in the crucible of athletic competition, and the dude who talks shit about him. One plays black, one is.
Yeah. Well, he said it. He said that he felt he was too black for them.
He was. You know, the thing that is true is when you make people feel bad, when you're a dissenting voice in the room, when you say the things that they get not to hear, you are already a target. There's an old expression like always bet on black, except if it's an ESPN or Mississippi. All right, that's gonna do it for the show this evening.
Yep, he is right, man. I mean, I didn't even want to pause the because he was cooking, man. You know, he was really cooking, and he's right, man. Like they accepted that Tatum guy because he was on their side. If they didn't go and interview with Nancy Grace, because she would have been asking them tough questions. She would have been like, I don't care what you say. What happened? You know what happened. That's the one time that I can agree with her. I mean, it's hard to watch that lady. She's very mean and rude. But on this one, I think she's 100% right. There's something going on, something not right. You know, and that Tatum guy, man, he's a puppet, man. He's dancing for them. Well, I actually heard something about him, like it was something that he said on one of his live streams, and his followers wasn't happy with it, so he started losing them. And this right here, I guess this brought him back in their good graces. And it's crazy. Like old Flacco said, sell your soul just for the almighty dollar. But he's selling his soul just so he can so people can like him, adore him. You know, like I said, either way it goes, at the end of the day, still black. And I don't care what you do, how you do it. It does not matter. You're still gonna be black to those people. Does not matter. And with the I'm getting ready to close this out, but with the Warren guy, I don't understand why he would tell two different stories. Like if nothing happened, your story would always remain the same. He ended up giving the police a totally different name of the girl that Nolan was supposed to be with. Why would you do that? And in that interview, he said that he realized that Nolan wasn't around. So he called his mama, called Nolan's mama. He hadn't showed up. They ain't heard from him. So I'm gonna call the Coast Guard. Why you gonna just straight up call the Coast Guard? Why you didn't call Katie first? Because we all know, you even said it, that you knew her and you knew that he was with her. Why didn't you call Katie? Have you seen him? What happened? Because she already knows that he got on that boat with y'all. She told Nolan's mom. He got on the boat with y'all. So you already know that's why he tried to make it seem like he was just so worried and concerned. He hasn't found him. I'm gonna call the Coast Guard. Okay, whatever, man. But the truth, it's coming out, man. These guys, and I just hope they fight tooth and nail to get every bit of it and find out what actually happened with Nolan Wells. And I gotta say this right here to the people that are sending death threats, leaving bad reviews to his parents. Y'all are some of the most wicked, evilest people in this world. I'm thinking, man, it's gotta be somebody that's doing this that doesn't have children. Because if you have a child and you put yourself in their shoes, I don't think you'd be doing that. I can't say that you wouldn't. Some, man, they just don't value black lives. I seen on a post or a comment, I believe it was on Tatum's channel. I was watching one of his videos. I seen on the comment. It's one white guy talking about, I wish we were back in the 1950s. For what? Why? Why would you want to go back? Because that time was terrible, man. We was still getting harassed, getting beat up, getting the dogs sicked on us, you know? Why would he want to go back to the 50s? It's crazy. D.L. Hughley, D.L. Hughley, sorry, excuse me. He did say something about that friendship thing, and that's true. That's really true. If that was your friend, you would show up to that funeral. You don't know if these people was gonna do anything to you or not. Show up. They gonna have to look and see that you there first and try to get to you. If you feel like it's a threat, you feel like something's going on, then it's time to get out of there. But that's your friend. You should have showed up and paid your respect. That's supposed to be your best friend, right? I don't see it. And it's like during that interview, that whole interview, man, he was just no emotions whatsoever. No emotions. So I really feel like that boy is covering up something. He really is. Man, I just said I just wasn't gonna say nothing about this, but it's just too much going on. And to the friend, oh my God, to the friend, the Tristan or whatever his name was, would you know that Nolan wouldn't support the way his parents are investigating his death? Why would you go on that interview and say something like that? So when you said that, they actually talked to the parents, and the parents didn't even know you. They said you just parked your car at their house one time. You gave Nolan, I guess, a few rides to school, and that's all they know about you. So how would you know how they would feel? Or how would you know how Nolan would feel? You don't know that. It's crazy how people value our lives. And I got a story too, man. Like when me, I just tell you, I was going to a all white school, private school. So ended up getting on the basketball team. One of the guys that played good basketball, white guy, he had a Mustang. So he used to give us all rides. There's like four of us. He would give us rides to and from school. So this was back when, I'm an old school guy. So this was back when Too Short came out with that CD cuss words. So we listening to this CD in his car. He had a nice system in this nice Mustang GT. We're listening to this CD. He's taking me home. Get to my house. He said, hey, man, you think I can hold the CD? Yeah, sure. Why not? We take the CD. He goes home. I believe this is on a Friday. So Monday, he didn't come pick me up for school. Wonder what's going on. Didn't think none of it. So I go to school. I get called in the office. Oh yeah, what's up? They got the coach, principal in there, and it was somebody else in there. Well, while they're talking to me in the office, they're calling my mom, basically telling her to come get me. So they the guy that has the Mustang, his dad finds this CD. He's very upset. Asked him where he got the CD from. Hey, what do you know? It's the Black Boy CD. So, long story short, I get kicked out of this private school. Hey, but you know what? The white boy, he still goes. He's still going. He still graduates and everything. He was the one that got caught with the CD, not me. So what they kick me out for? Just because it belonged to me? So it just tells you, man, like that white privilege, it's true. Whoever says it's not is a fucking lie. But I want to end this live right here. I believe Nolan's mom contacted Mr. Don Lemon. Shout out to Don Lemon. Shout out to D.L. Hewlett. Shout out to Don Lemon. So he's gonna read this letter this, I guess, email between Nolan Wells' mom and him. And it's pretty emotional. Let's check it out.
I just want to share this real quickly, and it's similar to what she said. So I don't feel like I'm giving away any confidence. And this is from her. She texted me and she said, "Hello, Mr. Lemon. This is Nolan Wells' mother, Christine Wells Wansley. Thank you so much for your message. We are trying to hang in there. Our lives will never be the same. Nolan was a special soul. His father, siblings, and I are beyond devastated. God truly took his time with creating our son."
Wow.
Hold on. Sorry. As much as it hurts, his father and I are so grateful the Lord chose us as his parents. Again, thank you for your well wishes and condolences. And then I responded to her. And I said, I'm so pleasantly surprised that you responded. Thank you so much. I am honored. I can't tell you how sorry I am. And I just went on to talk about his spirit. And I tried to be light. And I said, I'll just read to you what I said. I'm just going to be transparent here. How sorry I am that you are going through this. I can tell just from the photos, the beautiful spirit Nolan had. Smart, athletic, handsome, and an alluring spirit. What the kids call aura or riz. Please take care of yourself. And if there's anything that you need, let me know. If I can help in any way, sending prayers. And Don, she said, God bless you and thank you. You are for the amazing work that you do. And then I sent her a message this morning just saying, Grand Rising. I just wanted you to know that I care and many others do too. We're not letting this go until you have some answers. Sending prayers, Don. And she said, thank you. I hope we will be able to interview with you. And I said, I hope so too. And then we talked, I said, I'm glad the mainstream media is finally catching up. And we've been following this from the very beginning. And unfortunately, that's how these stories go with Black stories sometimes. And she says, this is the most important thing. She says, it is unfortunate. And I pray we get honesty and transparency. That's all we want. I appreciate you so much. And that was it. So that's why we're doing this. Sorry, I didn't expect that. That's why we're doing this. And my heart goes out to her.
That was, it's kind of emotional. I'm not gonna understand why he broke down in tears, man, but I do appreciate you, Don. I mean, you really bring things to the spotlight, You really do. So I appreciate your work too. Big fan of yours. Big fan. This is just it's terrible. It's terrible. It's really terrible. It's really sad that these parents have to go through this. And then they have no one. Well, I'm not gonna say no one. I'm just gonna say the people that are supposed to be helping them won't lift a finger. Will not find out what happened to their son. It's sad. I do want to say rest in peace to Daniel Irvin, and it was Tyler Smith, Nolan Wells, and there are probably many more that we don't even know about that's being swept under the rug. Just glad God brought this to our attention. I want to say rest in peace to these young men. Peace, love, and condolences to their families. They deserve it. And I'm going to end my live with that. Hey, you guys stay safe. Look out for one another, man. And try to spare some love because we need it, man. We really need it. This country needs that. I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out.